welcome to Based with Leonarda Jonie. We're covering my favorite topic. Candace Owens interviewed Harvey Weinstein, who we all know to be a sweet, innocent Jew who never did anything wrong. And to all of that, just like to remind you guys, I am going on tour. If you guys want tickets to my shows, now's the time to get them. Don't write to me in a few months and be like, when are you coming to Boston? Pay attention to my calendar. Get on my mailing list. I send out my dates. And if you get on my mailing list, open the email I send, okay? There's no point for you to be on my mailing list if you're just going to ignore my emails and put them in the spam. I don't really need that kind of rejection, and if that's how you're going to treat me, I'm going to block you. I'd like to start with the Candace Owens clip today because it was very difficult to believe that she's trying to rehabilitate Harvey Weinstein, of all people, his image. And it's a bit like... Well, you know, Nick Fuentes addressed this when he talked about how Tucker Carlson was doing a Christmas special with Kevin Spacey. And I've seen Kevin Spacey in a few people's things, and I'm not a fan of this, okay? The dude is a creep. And I know you're like, oh, he wasn't found guilty. It's very strange that everyone who accused Kevin Spacey of them is dead and ended up dead before the trial, as well as Kevin Spacey's connection to high levels of power like the Clintons. It's very weird, okay? These people really don't need a defense. Not to say that like anytime you get accused about something, you don't need a defense. I don't want to go down that road because God knows we've seen a lot of this woke Me Too bullshit that convinces everyone a person is guilty before there's actually any evidence, and especially when we were going through the whole believe all women thing. But one of the reasons that we got so upset about the believe all women thing is because there was so much bullshit muddying the waters that when women actually were victims, nobody believed them. That's the whole problem. It's like crying wolf. So you had all these, opportunistic who now wanted to claim innocence that were basically doing stolen valor. That's the problem. But that doesn't mean that there's no one who ever does these assault crimes or who never is a victim or is never telling the truth. We have to be careful about this sort of thing. I'm not a fan of men who want to assault and beat and oppress women. Sorry, that's why I don't live in a Muslim country. That's why I don't live in India. But if we're going to start this bullshit where it's like, oh, the Me Too got out of control. Yeah, it did get out of control. It doesn't mean that every accusation was false. So let's go watch this video and let's see what you think. Now, it is the trailer, and I'm not going to show Candace's whole video here, which is behind a paywall. Because it's behind a paywall. So I don't know what the copyright stuff is, and I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, but we'll watch the trailer, which is, obviously it's meant to be sensational.
I did not commit these crimes. I swear by that before God and the people watching now and on my family. The people who support me are scared to talk. They are frightened to death that they're going to be canceled.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they're so scared of who? Of who exactly? Maybe Hollywood, Hollywood has made him the scapegoat. Listen, the idea that there's a bunch of producers molesting and harassing hot young Hollywood actresses is not that crazy. There's a reason this has been a trope for so long, because it's based in truth. So him wanting to come out here and all of a sudden act all innocent and like he's never done anything is just a lot of bullshit. Also, I'm a big believer in physiognomy, and he's got goblin physiognomy, okay? It's written all over him. Not saying that that's always the case with people, but a lot of the time. Just want you to watch her response, all right? This eye close thing, it doesn't connote somebody who's telling the truth.
That they're going to be canceled.
What I always found to be problematic about the Me Too movement from the beginning, we're conflating he made a pass at me and I didn't like it with rape.
It's a complete fabrication about my relationship with Gwyneth. I didn't put my hand on her. I didn't touch her. I definitely made a pass. Ashley Judd's claims are ridiculous. I settled with Rose McGowan. I gave her $100,000. Don't tell my wife. Don't get me in trouble. It's all conflated, and it's all led to the idea that I am going to be the one they persecute. They broke me. They broke me in half.
Is this a Jew who's playing a victim after he assaulted a bunch of Hollywood actresses and ruined their lives? This can't be. This isn't in the Jewish playbook.
There's so much when you read the transcripts that defy common sense for me.
I've asked to have lie detector tests brought into the prison. I know they're not admissible, but I want the world to know.
To be honest with you, I think a lot of people are going to hear this conversation.
Candace, one thing I can tell you is this is going to explode.
Okay, so there it is. There was a lot of lies coming in there, right? Here he goes. I never did this. Poor me. And then Candace is trying to tie this to something which we know was abuse, which is the Me Too movement, and to try and then say that somehow this is one of those examples. Okay, well, Louis C.K. was a victim of the Me Too movement. I do think so. Yeah, he was gross. Yeah, it was disgusting. But none of that was sexual assault. Louis C.K., also part Jewish. Just coincidence. He's not in jail. He did suffer the consequences of cancel culture because the mob went after him without a trial. Harvey had a trial. Evidence was presented in court. It was evaluated by a jury of his peers and a judge. And he was sentenced according to the evidence. So it wasn't just a whole mob and what the media thought. And if there's anybody who's going to be protected, it's going to be an elite. So I think they sacrificed him to cover up worse and more heinous crimes like what we see a la P. Diddy now, as well as all the insinuations of child molesting, drinking child blood, sacrificing children. I know all this sounds like crazy woo-woo conspiracy stuff, but there's a lot of evidence to say that these people actually do this stuff. It just seems so unbelievable to us because we're normies and we don't live in the world where there is a spiritual reality. But these people do, and they want to convince you that it's not real. So I'm not really sure what Candace is trying to do here. Maybe she's trying to get views. I mean, yeah, she's definitely trying to get views. But, well, why we're trying to save the image of people who clearly are heinous individuals. Like, and this is the thing, right? I'm sure there were a lot of actresses he propositioned who went with it because they wanted to advance their career, right? I'm sure. I think some of them haven't come out, you know. My guess is maybe Salma Hayek, but she never came out and said anything because she probably knew what the terms of the deal were, you know. And that's a true thing. Listen, ladies, you know, you're going to get propositioned kind of in any industry. Actually, that's the truth. I mean, I was nothing but a freaking secretary in a financial company and I got propositioned. You don't have to take it. That's the thing. You don't have to take it. And maybe there's going to be consequences to that. Maybe you're not going to get the promotion, right? You're definitely not going to get whatever they're offering you in exchange for the favors or whatever it is they want from you. But you got to ask yourself, you know, what is the value of my integrity and myself? Is it worth $1 million movie or a $10 million? For some people, the answer is yeah, hell yeah, I'm getting the better end of the deal. But this is where I say to you, people who are buying products never pay more than what they think it's worth. So if somebody's offering you $10 million movie for your body, they probably think it's worth more and like they're getting the better end of the deal. You may not understand exactly what I'm saying, but if the devil is offering you a movie contract for your soul, trust me, he's getting the better end of the deal. Nobody's paying more for something than it's worth, unless they're stupid, okay? And you're dealing with a, you know, eternal being who's been around for a long time and can outsmart humans because we don't have a lot of the knowledge that he's got. Anyway, that's another esoteric thing. You can figure that out. I got off track. So yeah, I don't understand. There are women who probably made these deals eyes wide open. These bitches should shut up. You knew what the deal was. You took it. You might have remorse. You might have regret. That's on you. But there were a lot of women who didn't. And there were a lot of women that doors were closed for refusing sexual advances. Now, that's not okay, right? Now what we actually have is Harvey Weinstein doing to the women what he's trying to claim he's a victim of. That is harnessing the power of the industry that he's in to effectively blacklist women who didn't want to give him what he wanted. And I wouldn't be surprised if he also actually did engage in forceful, which is what he was, you know, taking a trial for, right? Because these people have power and they think they're untouchable and they think nothing will ever happen to them. And so they do whatever they want. So why we're standing up for the worst of the worst is beyond me. It makes me very suspicious and it makes me go, what side are you really on?